They've been around for over 400 million years. No, I'm not talking about the in-laws. I'm talking about hexapod invertebrates. They seem unnatural. They seem creepy, crawly. Ah, they're not exactly our best friends. And if a nuclear war happens, they're the only ones that is going to be left. That's right, folks. Today, we're talking about insects.
So I'm Dan.
And I'm Nick, folks.
We're old friends dissecting one topic at a time. People, technology, media, we've got it all covered.
Each discussion here is a deep dive into our unique perspective. The taboo, forbidden subjects, they're all on the chopping block, baby. We don't pander to popular opinion. We might even get a little bit dirty.
Warning, this podcast may contain mature language and sexual content, and is for infotainment purposes only.
So join us. Have a good time.
Open up your ear holes, because we're going to fondle your follicles. Alright, so we're going to be talking about insects tonight. Nick's favorite topic of all of them
is
incest. Ooh, insects. Sorry.
Insects.
Yes.
That's what I love.
Yeah, so
All about insects here.
I guess you love trophallaxis the most?
Ooh, what process is that? I didn't come across that process.
You didn't? You've never done this before?
Mm-mm.
No. It's, you know, when ants greet each other, they're trying to figure out who each other is.
Yeah, who's who?
Yeah, so they're also hungry, so they just swap spit and then regurgitate a little bit of food right into each other's mouths, and then they figure out who each other is through their food. Trophallaxis.
What's crazy is we just did a process on microbiology. Is that based on that process? I mean, the gut flora of an ant, worker ant, is going to be different than a queen ant. Is that what that's based on? I mean, that's the only thing that would change the taste of the food to determine who you are, right?
Well, the ants are unique because they're A, widespread, B, they're like super organisms. They live in hierarchies, and they have unique defined roles. So when you're talking about an ant, the brain structure of an ant is different based on the job that it does. Isn't that crazy? It's the same base organism, but because it's a worker ant versus a queen versus whatever. I don't know what the other roles are, but
yeah, it's like worker, queen, or the other ones.
It's just like man
They're
and
ones
woman.
that carry out the dead, right? Yeah, like that's a job, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, take care of the young. I think
the young,
manage the eggs. Maybe there's probably like digger ants. We're making these up now, folks.
Aphid,
Yeah.
you know,
I'm gonna just
caregivers.
search types of ants here.
That's incredible. Yeah, they're called hexapod invertebrates. I assume because they have 6 legs and they're invertebrates. That's what makes an insect an insect. So an insect is not a spider. Did you come across that at all?
A spider isn't an insect. Really?
It might be. I didn't do all my research. Hexapod, think about it though. It wouldn't make sense. I mentioned in our text previous this episode that we would talk about that. I thought maybe you would have taken the onus.
So, scorpions, mites, ticks are part of the arachnid family. Arachnids are not insects?
Arachnid.
Son
See
of
that?
a bitch. That's half my research.
Oh, crap.
Oh,
well, anyway.
Man.
Yeah, it's based on the number of legs, actually.
Insects and arachnids tonight.
Well, arachnids have 8.
Yeah.
Well, we can, we have to talk the differences.
We'll just
fill the people in.
We'll slosh around our intelligence and see what comes out.
Yeah, we're going to see how this episode fleshes out. What I find interesting about insects the most, though.
Yeah.
Ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
I hate their guts.
Well, it is interesting. Most people do hate insects.
Yeah, I actually, in my core of my person, I hate insects. I have a borderline fear of them. Like, I don't have a fear of them because I will step on them, maybe even with my bare foot. It depends on the insect. situation.
Yeah.
But something about them makes me it builds up this weird innate must kill in me,
Oh.
and I don't know how to explain that. Like
So
caveman.
so like a
Mhm.
feeling of ants crawling on your skin? Like everyone knows that feeling, right?
Yeah, that doesn't bother me as much as like beetles crawling on my skin though.
Oh.
Oh, that would get me.
That's interesting. So they have a name for that. It's called formication.
Hmm.
But formication is actually the derivative of Latin. It means ant. Is forma. So they have,
Really?
yeah. And one of the first, I guess, acids that man used was actually formic acid, which they would grind up ant bodies to make the acid from.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Ant mush actually makes a
Didn't
pretty strong acid.
I didn't come across that in my research
Yeah.
tonight.
So if you have creepy crawlies under your skin, like if you're in withdrawal or some other
Mhm.
form of actually maybe having an insect on you, you can feel it because it's called formication, crawling
What's
skin.
weird is the that feeling is interesting because it's too small. It's weird that we notice it when it's that small of a feeling.
Hmm.
Is that built into our senses kind of? Like we're attuned to it
Yeah, they also
greater than we should be?
they define formication as also like the like wind blowing on like a hair follicle, or
Oh,
like
okay.
the electro like their phones when they vibrate. That's a form of formication because it like you can have the
I had a
phantom
name for
feeling.
that actually.
Oh
It's
yeah.
called false popularity. Where you're like "Bzz, bzz,"
Oh,
and
I
you pull
thought
it
it
out
was
and like
cool.
you're like nothing happened. You're like, what? I no, my phone vibrated.
No,
And it's like, no,
people
you
like
just
me.
imagined it.
I
I'm
don't-
getting retweets and likes, people.
yeah, I want to
Damn
feel
you.
them all.
Hmm. My phone was blowing up, by the way. I don't know what's. No, I do know what's going on.
Is it me? It's me.
No, well, it's an account we share.
Oh,
Hmm.
I do try to pop that up as much as possible. By pop that up, I mean prop that up because I do all the work.
We got a lot of internet issues on our worst episode yet.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Good. Okay,
Okay,
good.
that's all
I
right.
like it. I like
That's
it.
all right.
It's good.
We'll work
It's all
through
right.
it.
It's not an arachnid, but it's okay. Um, what I wanted to move into before all these things started popping up on my desktop
Yeah.
was how
What?
I forget.
You don't know.
I did.
You want
Hold
to talk
on, I'm
about
gonna pull up my
flies or
notes.
flies and insects?
I do. I actually had them dated 300 million years ago. The beetle became very populous
Hmm.
as a creature. From there, fly around 250 million years ago, and then moth and maybe caterpillar 150 million years ago.
I'm.
It's not actually that old.
Hmm.
From what I figured, as I said in the intro, the oldest known insect was around 400 to 480 million years ago. Some kind of beetle, but not like the current day beetles we have now.
The oldest insect fossil is the Devonian Ragnigatha.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's him.
yeah, that's
The
him.
guy.
Wow, Ragnigatha.
Mhm.
Thirsty. I don't know what that is, but it's fine. Good for him.
Oh, it disappeared. That sucks because I had that page open. But okay, well, we have even less information than we had a few minutes ago, folks.
It's one of those flying things. It's a
Hmm.
classic thing if you're watching an intro to any cartoon dinosaur thing. It's that thing that flies around and then like an iguana like gets it. It's like almost like a
Really,
dragonfly
kind of
looking thing.
looks. Oh yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. So that's the oldest insect.
Who knew that those cartoons were historically accurate?
Factually accurate. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it.
Also, one of the
Um.
weird things about since we're in like the Jurassic period, um,
Wow,
is
this
that
guy. A shirt for every occasion.
yeah,
I'm wearing a shirt and nice jeans again. This is literally 2 episodes in a row where I'm wearing nice jeans and an outside coat, like where I go
yeah.
to a restaurant.
Luckily, he stole that from someone much long ago, mucho
Yeah,
long ago.
this is probably much long ago. This is probably a way dated look at this point, but that's all right. I'm gonna take it. But it was free. Mm-hmm.
So
Kira,
I don't know if this is accurate. I believe someone said
probably.
that the oxygen levels in the Jurassic period were much higher.
Yeah, they jumped. I
Yeah,
believe up. I think up. Right? You better
yeah.
not be wrong.
I think they're up. Because
Which is why the size of the dinosaurs grew.
sure, I don't know
There's
about
more
the dinosaurs.
oxygen. Well,
Makes it
everything
easier for
grows.
them to. I guess
Yeah,
maybe that would make
everything could grow bigger because there was more fuel
including.
to ATP and all this other stuff going on. It's a biology thing. I'll fill you in later.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, here's the first insect, the one you talked about, I think.
Yeah. So the whole thing about
Ah.
increased
Mhm.
oxygen. So a lot of insects don't have lungs. So there's no. Actually, I don't know if that's a definable thing that they don't have lungs. I don't know
Is
that
it?
any of them have lungs. They have
I
trachea.
should have done some
Yeah,
research.
I should have. But
They have saliva, that's for damn sure.
so part of the size of the insect is directly proportional to its volume because oxygen is actually penetrating the like exoskeleton of the insect and allowing it to absorb oxygen. So when you increase the oxygen amount, like in the Jurassic period, bugs can become
Bigger
larger because
insects.
oxygen can
Yeah.
permeate further in.
Right. Otherwise, there's probably a law for it: surface area versus amount of
Mm-hmm.
energy you can take in through your whatever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hmm.
So that's
Interesting.
creepy as fucking hell because if there's ever an increased amount of
Well, these
oxygen, the largest insect known to man can get even larger. Which I think is a Goliath beetle. Is that the
we're gonna
largest
find out right
living?
now. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
biggest insect. A Titan beetle.
Titan
Huh.
beetle. Damn it. I was so close.
What's the Titan beetle look like? I mean, it doesn't look that big.
It's as big as your
Pictures.
hand.
That's pretty big.
Yeah, it's pretty big. There are other ones that were like 3 feet across, but they don't live anymore. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're
Like
like massive
trilobites?
virgin. No, trilobites I thought were
It's
ocean
not an
dwelling.
insect, I guess. Yeah,
No,
yeah, they
no,
are.
no.
I just, that's what I'm picturing. So I guess that's what those kind of ocean dwelling creatures, when they took the land, became insects. Is that the type of evolutionary pathway we're looking at? Maybe.
Yeah, it does seem like they were once
Right?
water creatures and then they became
Yeah.
land creatures or flying
And
creatures.
then took to the air, which is interesting enough.
Yeah.
I wonder what the like if we did really good research, I'd want to know what percentage of insects are flying versus crawling. Because like that's a good question, right? I don't even know.
I don't
Here's
even.
the other thing. What's crazy is that insects are one of the few creatures that live in abundance wherever you live. Like it's not like it's like, oh well, I guess you get more of them out in the country, but they still persist in cities
Yeah.
and high metropolis. There's a word I'm thinking of that
Metropolitan.
means city. Thank you. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
There
I
you
didn't
go.
know it. That's pretty cool. I went on a date tonight. Okay, folks.
Yeah, he's busy.
I'm just
I
kidding.
was
Okay.
Do you? I guess you probably remember this because it's a childhood thing.
Mhm.
Up where I used to live, where you currently live, when there were
Mhm.
beetle infestations, they used to put those things on the lawn. They put that bag, and they're like,
Those are what kind of beetles? They have a name. Japanese? Is it just Japanese beetles?
I think so. I think
I think
so.
Japanese beetles. Yeah, they're little like gold. They have like the shell on them. Very hard exoskeleton.
Yeah, and they're really annoying.
They eat the hell out of some crops.
Yep.
They be chomping some leaves if we were to use our scientific terms here. Um, one of the more satisfying feelings in the world is hitting those with the yellow wiffle bat that everyone
Yeah.
had as a kid.
Yeah.
You know that one?
Yeah.
You go around the beetle bag, and well, I guess that was a sex related thing. They smell the pheromones. Yeah,
Is that a
the
pheromone
beetle
trap?
bag. Yeah, it's a
I
pheromone trap,
think.
I believe.
How many men would fall into that trap if they were like a hot
I
girl
would
turns the
run.
corner?
I would run into it. I don't care.
Yeah.
And there'd be some beetle with a
Just
giant yellow
trapped
wiffle
down a
bat just
well.
whacking.
She's like,
Yeah,
"Come down here. I need help, and I'm naked."
and
And you're just
naked.
like,
I'd be like,
"Oh,
I gotta
oh."
save her. I have to do it. This is probably a trap, but if it isn't, you got that like you never know.
I could just see you look down the well, and she's just like spread eagle, and you're just like, "Well," just,
No, and it says trap somewhere on the side that they didn't take
it's a
off. And
trap.
I'm like, you never know. They could have just wrote that on the wall by accident. Gotta do it.
Was there a cartoon series that had? I feel like this is like a Rick and Morty thing with like a giant insect cockroach that would shake his
Yeah,
head.
there is a Rick and Morty. They do a lot of insectoid aliens, and some of them are higher level than we are, I guess.
And the dog. But
Yeah. Wait.
I feel like
Yeah.
the insect would be beside the well, being like, "No, don't do it, dude. Don't do it." But a guy would do it. Anyway, what I was
Oh, the
talking
Rick
about.
and Morty. Oh, that's funny. The one that tries to trick Rick into giving away how he makes the portal gun. It's how one of the seasons opens. It's actually a really funny, one of my favorite episodes. And he's like, Rick, we're inside your mind right now. It's voiced by someone really famous. What I'm not going to do, in fact, it's probably the dude who, he's the writer in all the shows. It's like a crime detective show. Uh, it's,
You're reaching here.
damn it. No, I know, but I know what I'm talking about. I need one more keyword to break through.
Gromphlemite?
What's it?
Gromphlemite? Sampi? I don't know. I'm trying to
I
think.
don't know.
There's
Yeah,
a lot of
I'm just
pictures
trying to
of
think of
them.
the guy's name. He does he's a writer and he works with a female cop who's like good at investigating crimes and he solves the
SVU?
murders. No, by writing. He's like it's like one of those comedy things. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I need a keyword
Oh,
here.
whoa. He's from Dune, I think. Is he Dune?
No,
David Elder. Damn it. Now I'm gonna Google it.
MacGyver?
Oh, god damn it, you. I was listening to one of our other episodes where I'm bad with celebrity names, folks. I really apologize. I was listening to one of our other episodes where I was literally talking about oh my god, I forgot his name. I listened to it and I was like, he's gonna host the Oscars, maybe?
Well, I'll talk about my
Who they
beetle
get?
story.
Go ahead, please talk about your Beatles story
So-
while I look this up.
Like in the summers, all the beetles would go into this pheromone
Castle.
trap.
It's a
Ah,
show.
Castle.
I didn't even Google it yet, but
Oh, Nathan
what's
Fillion.
his name? Nathan Fillion. Yeah, I think it's Nathan Fillion who does the voice.
You should have
And
just
he's
said
a
Nathan
beetle?
Fillion.
I didn't know that was his name. I couldn't remember it. It was Castle and Nathan Fillion.
Huh.
And if I got those two, I would have said he's the beetle who says, Rick, we're actually inside your brain. And he's like, oh, really? And he's like, I uploaded a virus 40 seconds ago. And he just demolishes the beetle. But the beetle people, I never feel bad for when anyone kills them.
That's true.
I don't like beetles.
There's such an
Yeah,
animosity
that's true.
there. You think it's like a genetic thing that over time, like,
100%, because there's no other reason why I feel this way.
well, they're the only thing that really gets in your house because they're small enough to crawl through cracks and stuff. Like you get a little
Mice do,
earwig.
and I think mice are cute.
I don't
I
have
do.
any
That's
mice
me.
in my house.
Ooh, I have a mouse story.
It's not an insect, but you can say it. As long as he eats an insect at the end.
So, two mice stories on Insect Day. We used to all have to eat dinner as a family, all five of us in my immediate family, at like 5:30 every day after school, work,
Yeah.
everyone get home.
Family dinner.
Family time. We all have our own seat. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And there was the fan above us, and it would just go in the summer and then not in the winter. Makes sense. It would always tick or whatever, tick, 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 and we're in the city. It wasn't a very expensive house. Like that's just life, whatever. This went on for like 5 years, 7 years, I don't know, 10 years, who knows. When we were moving out of the house, we were cleaning things. We popcorned all the ceilings. That was the in look at the time. We painted the wallpaper a different color. We did a lot. And when we were dusting or fixing the ceiling fan, we realized that a mouse had died in our ceiling.
In the little
and
rotor?
Its tail was hanging down just far enough that the fan would hit it every time it went by.
I thought that would like rot and fall off.
I don't know.
And gotten that
Anyway,
far?
I have no idea. I can't explain this. All I know is that we found a dead mouse up there, and its tail was long enough to hit the fan and make a ticking sound. So,
Was this years or just for 1 year?
This is like years. I would think it would fall off, but who knows? I can't explain it, but that was over our dinners, I guess. Number two mouse story. I saw a mouse at work one day, and I was standing on. It was like 4 feet away, and we would get mice, and everyone gets mice in a warehouse. They eat cardboard, for Christ's sake.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking at it, and I said to one of the other guys at work, and I pointed to the mouse, and I said, "I'm gonna step on it." So it's sitting there minding its own business, and I lifted my leg like real big, like I was like a big shot, like, and I went to stomp on it, and it freaked out to the point where it didn't know which direction to go, and my foot came down on it, and I could feel it under my foot, and
And it's still alive, or is it just
yeah, but it was still alive, or at
twitching?
least still there, or something was happening because I didn't put all my weight on it. I just put some weight on it. So I gritted my teeth and made a face like this and just had to kill it. And I had to keep squishing it with my foot.
That's so
And I was like
sad.
going to cry. It was the saddest thing ever. And two things in the takeaway there: I'm a really sensitive man, ladies.
Oh yeah, very much.
And two, I am fast enough to kill a mouse.
Fast enough?
Don't mess with me.
I don't think the
Yeah,
mouse
I mean,
was
I stopped on
moving.
it.
You didn't. You
No, no,
stopped on it too
it was
slowly.
well, it confused it, I think. But yeah. So my reaction time is incredible. I can actually step on a mouse with my own foot and kill it.
When it's not moving.
I mean, it moved, just not far or fast enough to get away.
Did you have to? You were tracking it perfectly. You're really good at killing mice, Nick. I'm impressed. And if I was a woman,
And mice.
if I was a woman,
Swoon.
say it extra deep.
Swoon. Anyway, so you were going with a beetle story before I interrupted with mice stories.
Yeah.
That's the last of the mice stories. We should just talk about mice for the rest of the episode.
But that's what, like a visceral thing. When you see that bag of beetles, you have no remorse towards it. And like the bags used to fill up. Like it used to be like even bigger than a
overflowing.
baseball. Yeah, they'd be like a sack of beetles. Well, turns out you can eat those things. Not from the bag, but people do. People do from around the world. So even like things like cockroaches or see crickets. They love crickets.
Millipedes and centipedes and crap.
Yeah, they just kind of like toss them a little oil, fry them up, little snack, little crunch.
Chocolate covered.
Crickets, that's a thing.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Or like mealworms, which I guess that's an insect, right? It's in the middle. Who knows?
That's awesome. I don't care. I agree with you though.
Yeah. Those things we don't care about. But it's weird because like in our country, the United States, like it's not a very common thing. There's only like 2 or 3 restaurants that actually serve insects, and they're owned by the same person. So it's like the one guy in the world. Yeah, I did.
Weird. Makes sense.
Yeah, and there's like 80% of the world actually does eat insects.
Holy crap! So we're outliers.
Yeah, we're outliers here. We have a weird aversion.
Good for them.
That's exactly what I think. I think we're like, oh, we don't need that. We can eat a cow, which is a much bigger animal and costs more money. If we were dirt poor, we'd be like, cricket, got it. I'm gonna rip it right off.
Really cleaner. It's weird. Anytime I picture, I'm like, obviously, the bug's the dirtiest friggin' thing. I hate them, but I don't know that that's true.
I don't know that it's true because
maybe they are. I don't know.
A throwback to one of our previous guests, Susanna. She would probably say that the bacteria that are on a cricket are wildly different than the bacteria that are on a cow. So if you have
way to cop out and use someone else's cop out. That's totally her cop out.
That would be her cop out
right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I don't know that a cow is a healthier thing to eat than a cricket. It's just easier because it's more used to it. I guess if you're going to be an upper echelon type of person. Now there's
more protein in it, obviously.
Yeah, so
unless I guess what if you had equal weight crickets and equal weight cow?
That's exactly it. So the sustainability of a cricket is like probably like a factor of 2 or 3 easier, like for the amount of protein you get from a cricket, and that's like whole proteins. Like you don't get partial proteins. It's the completeness of the protein is equivalent to a cow meat. So if you were to grow crickets instead of cows, you could probably do 2 or 3 times as much protein in the same amount of land and using the same amount of water.
Yeah, but I think there's the problem you run into is a skin problem.
Skin?
Well, whatever you want to call it, the outside, the not protein parts of the cricket would start adding up in factors of 2 or 3 more than the cow. Because you can't cut up a cricket to pieces.
Well, actually,
is there a process?
There is a process for crickets. Yeah,
everything but the middle.
Yeah, they actually do take crickets. I think they take them alive because when you have a live cricket, it has excrement inside of it. And I think they do the same thing with real worms too. They take the crickets and then they boil them rapidly, and that causes them to excrete all the waste. And then they
Hell
clean
yeah.
them.
They shit those pants.
Yeah, and then they toss them in a grinder and make flour out of them. So you can have cricket flour, which is equivalent to like wheat flour.
Huh.
Which I'm okay with eating. It doesn't sound
Yeah, I
disgusting to
would
me.
do it. I'm
Yeah.
not against it. I'm just not into it necessarily. So it's strictly cultural? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
How about the Lion King when Timon and Pumbaa take Simba in?
Oh, they have the giant
And they're like,
slug.
hey, and you have to eat all. It's not a slug. It's like a worm and a beetle and it's insects. They all have 6 legs. I counted. Like that's the grossest part of the movie.
It is
I
because
just saw it again
it's
recently.
very visceral. And then like when he bites it,
Yeah,
like
it
the
is.
juices of the whatever worm go to the back
Yeah.
of it, and then he's like,
Yeah.
"Ugh."
And then he swallows one and he makes a face and he's like slimy yet satisfying.
Yes, exactly.
Weird. I would never eat a live insect, I don't think. Would you? What's your
No,
dollar point? $5,000?
I mean that's even like if you're drinking a Coke and a fly gets in there or like a bee, like you get that thing out of your mouth as soon as you can.
Yeah, well that's different. I said for $5,000.
For $5,000, what would I eat? Or would I eat
Yeah, would you
something?
eat a bug?
I eat a cricket. I think a cricket would probably be okay.
What about like a fly?
Fly would probably be all right too.
What about a beetle?
So small beetle, I could probably eat
A
that.
roach.
Cockroach,
What
I
about a
could not do.
Yeah, cockroach is one of the worst ones. Isn't
No.
that weird?
Yeah, I don't like. So like cockroaches are one of the worst because they get in everywhere and then they survive.
So we were from northeast Philly, and in my particular block was at the downswing, elevation wise,
Uh huh.
and then it would go back up. And they said it was it used to be a creek or a river at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure if it's true, but it would make sense too physically from the layout of the land.
Mm-hmm.
Back on Large Street, look it up, folks. Okay, stalk my ex life. I dare you to.
So my
Anyway.
insert here is that when it gets dry, roaches look for water because they need water more so than food. So they will go to the lowest lying point to look for water and drink it.
Is that what they do? Oh, that's smart.
So if your house is moist and the outside is dry and arid, they're coming
That's
in your
where they're
house.
heading. And warm on top of freezing cold, right?
Mm-hmm. And if it gets warm enough, they can fly.
Is that why that happens? I've never seen a flying one, and I've heard they do.
Mm-hmm.
Are they? Is that in a different species?
I don't know which ones fly or not. I just know that the hotter it gets, the more likely they are to fly.
I think that species flourishes more in like Florida.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, ooh,
That's gross.
I don't think I've ever seen a flying cockroach. I would shit someone else's pants if I saw a flying
I have.
cockroach.
Down in Texas, I have. When they fly towards you, you're just like, fuck no. Just like, just get that thing away from me.
I'm out. But in Northeast Philly, we had mice occasionally and cockroaches, and they would crawl behind your like stove and crap. Like you would find them under things.
Yeah.
They would come out like
Because they're nocturnal too. They don't like light.
yeah, and if they come out, like we had carpet in the basement, like they would come out and you would see them. And my mom or dad would be like, step on it. And like as a 5-year-old, I was like, no, this is the scariest thing in the world. And I still remember if you step on them, you can see like white stuff come out their heads and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
See, my son, he recognizes spiders. So every insect he sees, he goes, spider, spider. He'll walk up to it and go, spider, spider, point at it, and then the next thing he does is he slams his foot right down on it. That's like badass.
Some assertion, like me, I wasn't about squishing things as a kid. I was like, nope.
So that also leads into the cockroaches are there because of the water. One of the defenses against cockroaches is called diatomaceous earth. Against all insects, actually, because their carapace, once it gets this diatomaceous earth in it, it starts to like crack it and cause these like essentially cuts, and it causes them to lose water really quickly, so they dry out. Diatomaceous earth. It's actually, I think, like old sea creatures like shellfish that have dried and formed rock. And then when you pull this rock out of the earth, it falls apart very easily into this white powder.
Yeah, it's very brittle, crumbly.
Yeah,
So what do you do? Pour it at your...
You sprinkle it around.
Gets...
It's completely food safe too. They actually add it as like an anti-caking agent in certain foods. So diatomaceous earth.
The insect somehow picks it up and it gets into its system, and then
yep, it gets all over their body. If they get it, like say if you were an insect and you got it on your hands, like your hands would start to be all like chapped and cracked, and then because the insect requires so much water, they would instantly lose the water that they were trying to recoup by drinking. So they wouldn't be able to survive if they were caked with this diatomaceous earth.
So here's a cool thing. Because we're in the chemical business, my family, we would get first dibs on different industrial chemicals. And one of the craziest ones, and I can still picture the smell, was it was called lightning or lightning-o. No, it was lightning, and it was a insect killer. And insect killers have the most ridiculous long list of chemicals involved, like to the point where this was the best insect killer anyone's ever seen.
You've done like the wasp spray, right? Where you hit them from like 10 feet away with a little like jet.
Yeah, I love that. The reason I'm bringing up lightning-o or whoever it was, there was an oil-based one and a water-based one, and I think the oil-based one was really good. Like you would never see bugs in your house again. The problem is, within 5-10 years, the FCC shuts these people down because they're like, "Whoa, this is also not healthy for anyone else." Like, we realize now,
y'all got cancer.
Yeah, like that's like essentially what they're doing. Do you know why they another thing causes cancer is urinal pucks?
Really? You're not supposed to eat those?
What are they called? Oh my god, para. It's called para.
Paraffin wax?
It's para. It's para something else. Anyway, urinal block para. They made a rule where you couldn't make the blocks out of para anymore. It had to be non-para is the new blocks. And if you notice, urinal blocks break apart much easier. They're more brittle. It's a different material.
Para-dichlorobenzene.
Sure, there you go. Anyway, now they switched to non-para and they kind of suck. You'll also notice that everyone switched to Z and wave screens and the like, all the knockoffs, because they're impregnated with a fragrance, and they work great. They actually work better than the pucks anyway, so almost everyone's moved away. They also have the little needle points on them that face up towards you, so when you pee, the splash doesn't go as much. The good ones have needles on the bottom, so they're not quite in contact with the urinal. There's a little bit of room for the liquid to go underneath, so there's also no splash. Because they're impregnated with liquid, usually there's little tabs on these bad boys. Tells you when they're ready to be pulled, when it's been 30 days, when it's time to throw those bad boys in the trash. So you get yourself a perfect urinal clean system, no cancer. Okay, folks?
I feel like
that's a guy in the biz.
The engineer who designed that is now like, finally, someone appreciates me.
Just me.
Shout out.
But the reason I brought para and non-para is because no one's chewing on urinal blocks and getting cancer. All the workers who make this stuff and deal with it every day are in danger.
Yeah.
No one who sprays roach spray is probably eating it or putting it in their food or getting enough contact with it that it can actually cause cancer. But the people in these factories or people transporting it, they do. So that's why we change the laws for the reasons we do.
It's like the radium girls.
FYI.
Yeah.
The what girls?
The radium girls who are marking the watches with the glow-in-the-dark radium.
Yeah.
The people with the watches don't give a shit, but the people who were making them, they got terrible throat cancer, jaw cancer.
Exactly.
Not good.
No, not good. And I forget why we got into it entirely, but I do know that insect killers are ridiculous in that...
Diatomaceous earth.
Yeah, diatomaceous earth sounds like a good one.
Yeah.
I actually like that one.
Yeah, and it's not a chemical.
Most of them are just super chemical. Yeah, the runoff, they end up in your streams, and then they end up back in your drinking water at some point.
Yeah, I actually, when there was a flood here during Hurricane Harvey, I put down a line of diatomaceous earth because all the insects were starting to come into the house. So they, don't do that, it would hurt so much. And literally, if ants are like trying to crawl on top of it, they realize about an inch into the stuff that they're gonna die really fast because they start rolling around and squirming, and then just like
ants too.
Yeah, any type of insect, because all the insects have a similar type of carapace. Skin.
Awesome.
Yep.
Cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's cool.
I actually like ants. Do you
I
know
love
what I did
ants.
as a kid?
The black ants up north?
No, actually, well, okay. As a kid, right after someone taught me how to magnifying glass ants, which is messed up,
Yeah,
but whatever. I've
we all
totally
did
done it a
that.
couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care. I noticed I'd be bored on summer days, and I like sciencey stuff. Um, you can find like a colony where they have those little ant. What are those called?
A
The ant
mound.
hills.
Yeah. Ant hill or mound.
The mound, an ant mound.
Yeah.
You can see from which one it is, and like the who's coming out and coming in. It's the little tiny black ants, like the real
Yeah.
little guys, right? The real little ones.
Those are great. They don't do anything to you.
No, not at all. They don't bite. They don't do anything. They mind their own business or constantly work.
Mm-hmm.
If you would like hit a red ant and stun it enough, where like the big one, the big red ant, they're always on trees and stuff.
Yeah, but I think the ants that are up north, that's probably not technically. I guess a red ant is different than a fire ant.
Right. I don't think they were fire ants. I think they could bite you, but you wouldn't really feel it. They were stupid little whatever. No. You could stun it, and I would throw it on the ant hill, and eventually, if enough black ants, little tiny ones, came in contact with this guy who was alive, they would send more troops out. Oh my god! They would beat him up. They would rip him apart or bring him into the hole, and I'd never see him again.
So
it was the most fascinating thing to me. I was like, holy shit! Go ahead.
So what you're talking about is quorum sensing. So usually that's like a bacteria type of thing where if there's enough bacteria throwing off this signal that something's attacking them, then all the bacteria throw off this signal
what's up?
And they start attacking it. So ants do the same thing, is that they throw off this quorum sensing, and once there's enough of them to realize that there's something wrong, they all start attacking. They have a hive mind.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Hive mind is wild. They talk about how they can group together if they're adrift in water.
Yep, that happened during Hurricane Harvey too. Is that they form these like pads of ants and they're just floating on the river.
Patterns, or
Some lady actually was on the bank, like a curve of one of the rivers, and it was dumping ants, like floating ants, onto her property. When the water receded, her property was just all ants. She was like, and they're all fire ants too. So when fire ants bite you, a single bite hurts a lot. And it makes like a little mosquito type of bump on you. So she was like, I got to get the hell out of here because these ants are going to rip me apart. And how do you can't defend against them unless you're like covered in diatomaceous earth.
Someone can die from that, right? I know it was like an old-fashioned punishment, wasn't it? Where you stick them in the ground and cover them in honey until fire ants came. Was that just a wives' tale or a joke, or is that a thing?
I want to get like facts on like how many ants. There has been people. There have been people that have died.
There are wild ass ants in Africa and stuff, and like South America, like in the jungles, that have mandibles that look like this, that are just serrated. It's like knives.
Yeah, they have.
Those things get big. Oh no.
Those are the ones they use for sutures.
I just got goosebumps. Check that out.
Yeah, they use for, so like when they get a cut, they have those ants that have the big enough pincers that when they pinch, they'd stay there. There's no way to really get them off.
Yeah, they hold. Yeah, the bullhead ant. How did I know that?
Yeah.
How did I didn't do any research tonight,
I don't know that he's right, but
I think I'm right.
I don't know that he's right.
Okay, no,
I thought the bullet ant was the one that felt like a bullet when it hit you.
Bullet ant.
Bullet.
I said bullhead.
Bullet.
I said bullhead.
Well,
but
anyway.
Bullet is probably the one with the most painful sting known to man, right? That's bullet.
I think so.
I was saying bullhead for whatever reason. Maybe I'm.
Well.
Well, go ahead.
Back then they used to use them as sutures because you could put that ant right up against your wound, make it so that it closes your wound, break it off.
What?
Yeah, and then the head would actually stay there, so it would be like a little suture, and they just use multiple ants to close it off. It's awesome stuff. It's crazy stuff.
That's wild, actually. Is bullhead a kind of ant? I know bullet is the painful one. I realize that.
Dolorous. It's a dolorous ant. I think that's what it's called. DOLYRUS. Sure, make up words. It's fine. But ants are crazy. Those just like all the different varieties. They're all widespread, and they're also like forming colonies. And you ever seen like someone pour? They like heat up a metal. They get it boiling,
Molten.
and they molten funk it. They molten pour it into the ant hive, ant colony, and they like can cast it. And then if they like chip it out, they can see like how the colony actually looks in a 3D method.
Just have a fucking ant farm, dude.
I guess you could do that.
I mean, clear sight.
You don't see them anymore. I don't see them in like I guess you could buy it on Amazon or something, but I'm not gonna say ant farms on Pander's key code. Just type it in right there. 5% off of whatever ant farm you're gonna pick.
Bill us 5%. We'll
Yeah.
get back to you. We'll see what we can do. I'll talk to our people. Whatever.
Yeah.
That is wild. That isn't a thing anymore, is it?
No, I think
wonder
that
if it's because there's a lifespan problem, or like they don't act the way they should, or they die.
well, it's not
sooner than they
PC.
should.
Let's trap an animal and just watch it, and then
It's a fucking ant.
yeah, who gives a shit anyway?
Yeah, right.
Ants are people
Well,
too.
Here's my question. So ants
Ant
do
lives
this.
matter.
Do they have a queen in our ant farm, our ant glass, our ant whatever it's called?
It must, right? I mean, I don't know if the worker
think
ants
they
just keep
do.
working if there's no queen. Do you think they just like don't know? They're just like keep working.
Yeah, I think they have no idea. It's probably like they probably send you the shittiest ants. It's probably like one kind of ant that has no queen. It just keeps working. Like, we should have done a whole episode on ant farms. Is that what they're called? I feel like I'm saying the wrong word.
I don't think you're wrong. I think an ant.
But isn't an ant farm what it is naturally? Or is an ant farm the one behind the glass, the panes of glass that you can see? Do people under 15 even know what the hell I'm talking about? That's weird.
I don't know, but ant farm does not show up.
When?
No, there it is.
Right.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Can we still buy some? What's the price range with ants? Just asking you a simple question.
Click on shopping. Okay, they do exist. Oh, they have cooler ones
go.
now that have like a gel. So it's instead of sand, it's now a gel, and they can watch ants dig through the gel. It's clear.
Weird. I wonder why they went gel instead of sand. I mean, it clearly has to do with the ant, but I'm just trying to think if it's safer for the ants for some reason. Why would sand
More
go bad?
humane.
Yeah, but what's humane about moving a gel from left to right?
Because the ants are like, whoa, this is awesome.
They're like, this is groovy, man. It doesn't hurt their paws at the end of the day.
Do ants even sleep?
Yes.
Yes, they do. But not in the sense that we understand sleep.
It's probably the way dolphins sleep. You know how do dolphins sleep? Do you know?
No, they only sleep in 8 minutes in any 12-hour period. Is it the same thing with sharks? Like, sharks don't sleep. They just go into some nocturnal, like, it's like a hibernation where they're still aware of things, but it's like, it's less
Awake.
active than
It's like
awake.
Semi-awake.
Yeah.
That's what dolphins do, because otherwise they die, because they need to get air, oxygen. So
really,
they actually commonly go to the surface and do this. Like, yeah.
I said 8 minutes every 12 hours.
That's not a bad life.
No, that's...
And they're constantly at work at like Amazon.
Yeah, they're trying to take over the world.
Think about it. I mean, how much more productive are they than us?
I just imagine myself stepping on the whole thing and then like pouring ant killer. It's like thousands of them. Go to sleep now, babies. Yeah.
That's really funny.
Oh.
It's really funny because, like, if you think of it, if they've been around for millions of years more than us, right? And they're way more productive. Like, they work like 20 hours a day. And they can lift 100 times their own body weight or whatever the other fact is.
Yeah.
And they're super organized and they're very intelligent and they use the hive mind and the collective. And they still make piles of dirt for a home? Like, they suck.
You took the wrong path in life, Ant.
I mean, they're trying their darndest. They're really good at what they do. It's just, what did it equate to? Like, what did they get out of it?
I don't know.
Dirt hills around their homes? I don't know. A queen? We're trying to get away from the monarchy here in the United States. That's all I'm telling you.
Yeah. So there's more interesting stuff about like zombie insects.
Is it insects that do that?
So there's
Isn't it a plant?
there's
It's a
some
plant.
fungi that does this too.
Fungi. Yeah, it's a fungi. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But there are insects that. So I heard of one that it would like lie in waiting for a bee or a wasp to come by, and it would like insert itself into its abdomen, and then there were like a male and female version. So the female would permanently stay in the abdomen until it gave birth and reproduced, and it would wait for the male to find the parasite inside of that wasp and then mate with it while it was inside. Isn't that crazy?
How do they mate?
Normally, I don't know how insects mate, but that I feel like you were
It's
going to say
wild.
something.
Either way, either way. No, no, no. I'm sorry. What I will say is there's the fungi that takes over ants. I think
Mm-hmm. Slime balls.
turns them into zombies. Yeah, this is something straight out of like sci-fi. To my knowledge, it how did it get in there? Did it posed off as a sugar or something, and the ant would start to ingest, and then as it gets into different parts of the insides of the ant, it grew. So it's made of like these stalks of celluloid, or it's a material that's stiff, but it's a very natural forming material, and it would branch out in certain parts of the ant that were important to movement. So it could branch out and take over like its arms and then like its head. So it would be like it would look like the guy from Men in Black, Edgar,
Mm-hmm.
if I were
Yep.
to
Mm-hmm.
equate it. Sugar water. Sugar water.
Yep.
Thanks. I'll be taking that. He's the greatest actor of our generation, by the way. If you haven't seen Men in Black, pay special attention to Edgar. He does really general sweeping motions with his arms, knocks things off the table, says things like, I'll be taking that, and takes things. Thanks, I might need a snack for later. He takes her
That's
up the
verbatim.
ladder.
That is verbatim.
It is verbatim. I'm telling you, Edgar is one of my favorite actors. But anyway, this fungus does this to these ants, and it literally like makes them move. And to me, that's beyond creepy. That's like the weirdest thing you could do.
Yeah, there's a zombification of fish where like something would get in their brains and then it would change the serotonin levels. Yeah, it would change the serotonin levels to make them more energetic and jump out of the water. Because
so that another animal would find it.
Yeah.
A bird?
A bird would find it, and the whole goal of the parasite was that it would only reproduce inside of a bird's intestines.
Oh, well, bird intestines. If you're gonna make a home, that's the place to do it.
It's Yep.
You're gonna grow up, you're gonna turn in your 40s, you're gonna realize you need a nice bird intestine home. Well, the only way to get it, folks, is to work from the bottom. Get inside a fish, make it jump a little bit, make it work a little bit. You're gonna intern for a little while. Eventually, you're gonna shoot right to the top. Once you get into those bird intestines, you find yourself a wife. You get a little, you have some babies. Everyone's fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a goal. I actually think that's homey, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I could see that. He's aspiring for a brand new bird intestine.
Imagine if he comes back into the fish brain later at night. It's been like 3 weeks. She's like, honey, we're still in the fish. He's like, I'm jumping. It's just not working. It's been a bad year. This quarter, there aren't a lot of birds eating fish in this area. And she's like, I don't care about any of that. You have to show results or I'll leave you. And he's like, I'm really stressed right now.
Just slap me. Just slap me a little bit. I need a little more serotonin.
Smack me around. Smack me around.
Those parasites got issues.
Yes, it does.
So we got one more zombification here of cockroaches. The female jewel wasp, she'll actually find a cockroach and infest it. She injects the toxin so it paralyzes it, and then it goes for the head.
Oh yeah, I do know this one.
Yeah, slowly consumes the cockroach alive as it reproduces. It's pretty crazy stuff.
It's sci-fi.
Yeah, weird. It is.
And it's creepy. It makes your skin crawl a little bit.
Yeah, if this was actually happening to human beings, which it actually might be happening, we just don't know.
I'm here for a cat.
It's a crazy thing. It's a very sci-fi. It doesn't believe like it doesn't seem like it's possible. Ooh, I'll talk about foods a little bit more. So there's on top of like the
Parts per
beetles,
million.
cockroach, there's actually in East Africa they have these flies that are all around, and they can't really do anything with them, so they catch them and like form them into a patty and then press them together, and it's called a kunga cake. They make it like a burger. They fry it up, they cook it, and then they eat it.
You serious, Clark?
Yeah, they're called midges. These flies that they catch. They literally said that you can coat a pan in oil and just swing it in the air and catch enough midges that you can form it into a nice patty and cook it like and eat it like a burger.
That sounds like an old wives' tale.
This is a true thing.
No,
it
the
tastes like
swinging
caviar.
a
They
pan
said.
around. No. The swinging a pan around, making enough for a burger.
I don't know that you've ever been to East Africa, so you can't disprove me.
Well played. Well played.
Disprove me,
Regardless, I
scientists.
don't want this burger, but damn.
Explorer David Livingstone. Tasted not unlike
Livingston,
caviar.
I presume?
Livingstone.
Oh, different than Livingston, I presume? What's that joke? It was going on in cartoons.
Yeah.
So we were seeing Looney Tunes cartoons, which were made in the 30s or 50s.
I don't know.
But they were references to things going on within a 5-10 year span. So they're probably referencing things from the 1920s to 30s. And
maybe it is the same guy.
And the joke was Livingston, I presume. I don't even know what that means. I've heard that expression, that phrase, a million
He's the only
times.
white guy in Africa, and then he's like,
oh, is that the joke?
I don't know.
Maybe it is.
It could be the joke because those cartoons were probably racist back then.
Probably. Either way, I've heard the joke a million times, but I never knew what it meant. But to this day, if someone said Livingston, I presume, I'd laugh. I'd be like, ha ha, man, good one. Good one.
Oh, you know your cartoons.
Just it's in every cartoon. It's in every trope. It's
he was
thing.
Presumed lost. That's what happened.
Oh, so everyone.
So if you were to find him, he would be presumed again, but living.
Livingston. Presumed.
Living. Ha ha ha.
Interesting.
Jokes.
His name's Living. Huh.
Let's talk about other foods. Casu marzu.
Don't.
It's a cheese. We actually talked about this on the food episode. So it's a delicacy in other countries that they make this cheese, and it's watery enough for a fly to drop larvae in there and then create maggots. Oh, so the maggots make the cheese very liquidy, and I would never eat that, but that's how they serve it, with the maggots inside.
Do you have to wait till it's just going bad to make it?
Yeah, it literally is called like rotten cheese. That's the casu marzu. Sardinian in nature, origin. But you've probably eaten insects and you don't even know it.
Don't even go parts per million in chocolate, please. Let me know.
No, I mean that's there. That
parts
is certainly there. Yeah, you're allowed to have a certain parts per million chocolate, hot dogs, any food product really.
Do you have any numbers?
I do not actually, but I do know. So
let's break it down for in generalities then. So for anyone who doesn't know, the Food Drug Administration, is it the FDA?
Yeah.
When you're making a food, there are rules and regulations. You can't have X amount of dirty hands. You got to wash your hands after you go to the bathroom. And that's what the workers do. With the material itself, whether you're making chocolate, you're making hot dogs, you're making beef, there is actually a parts per million they allow for insects. It's built into the law.
It said an average of 30 insect fragments in 3.5 ounces of peanut butter. That's a lot of fragments. I don't know if it's like one piece that was broken into 30 fragments, but
that is a lot for peanut butter. I didn't think it was going to be that high a number.
Yeah,
I thought it was like a 1 per million or something.
I thought it was going to be like a I want to say can or jar of peanut butter, but like
3 ounces.
3 ounces, that's nothing. That's
So we're getting some insects in there.
Yeah, but it's probably good for you.
It's probably pureed and mixed in so much with everything else that you wouldn't even notice. It's not like it's like an insect leg sticking out of a peanut butter jar. Can you imagine?
No, that's only one fragment though. So
that's
if it's whole, if it's whole.
It's illegal. You need several dozen of ounces
Yes.
to break that up.
But
But yeah, it applies for like your favorite Hershey's chocolate. Same idea.
so there's also another form of insects that they have this resin they secrete, which we call shellac, which is actually used for like wood. Like if you shellac wood, it's kind of like you have.
I thought that was like paint. That's an insect thing.
That's an insect thing, yeah. So it's part of an insect. It actually keeps other insects off of it because it's made of dead insects. They're like, whoa, we don't want to touch that. So it seals the wood.
I've never heard this. What?
The lac bug. The lac bug is what actually makes the shellac.
They squish it, and this is like what you get from it, or
It's a resin that is secreted by the
milk it?
female lac bug. And then they milk it. You can milk anything with 6 legs.
Can you milk me, Greg? It's just
Yeah.
Robert De Niro with 6 arms. He's like Goro.
So this resin you can dissolve in alcohol, and that's what you get for shellac. But there's also food grade shellac. So they put shellac on different various foods to keep it looking like the shine or the sheen that you get on foods. So that is something
Chocolate?
that I don't know that chocolate has
There are
it. I know
certain
like
chocolates that are shiny and hard that I like a shelled chocolate look.
I'm gonna have to double check which ones.
I'm just curious now. I'm like, whoa, what's shellacking here? What's crack-a-lackin shellacking?
Oh, I need to see what they use it on. I don't know that there's gonna be. Oh, quick searching. Oh, there you go. Like jelly beans. That's a perfect one. Like the shininess on the outside of a jelly bean.
Yeah.
That's made of the lac bug resin. So you're
Yeah,
still
that's
eating
insane.
it. Yeah.
Weird.
Most
I mean,
candies.
I guess we discussed in the beginning you can eat it anyway, but that's bizarre.
Yeah, it's weird that like if it comes in a different form that you don't understand, you're okay with eating it. It's the same with chicken nuggets.
like,
When
yeah,
chicken
it's jelly
nuggets are like a
beans.
paste of an animal that looks disgusting and made of all different parts, but you bread it and then cook it, it's like, oh, it's just breaded stuff. We don't know what's actually in there. Let's just eat it. So we didn't really talk about the disgusting diseases that insects carry. The number one killer
Are
in the
mosquitoes
world.
insects?
Are they?
I don't know.
Do they have 6 legs? So that was one of the weird things is that like mosquitoes and fleas. I know fleas have 6 legs.
Are you sure fleas don't have 8? I thought fleas were arachnid related.
Oh,
You
did
could
I
be
say that
dead
in the
on.
beginning?
You did.
I might have said that in the beginning.
No, you did. You didn't mention them. Now we're all furiously.
Yeah, we're trying.
Oh my god, this is the best news I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
Oh my god, guys. So, this is an aside, and we do this a lot in the insect episode. In life, we always have things going on. It's like, did you turn on red, and now you have to go to court, fight that ticket? It's on you, buddy. When is that date? I don't know. It's like coming up soon. I'll remember before it happens. Oh, remember your car insurance lapsed, and then you had to do the thing, so now you have to call them to get $180 back. That's on you. Get there, you know. And all these things happen in real life, and you have to cancel that one credit card and change your other credit card. Um, you have to go to your son's play. He's the tree. Did you make the tree outfit yet? Like, there's all these little things in life that are like projects that could take weeks, and you have weeks to do them. You got to manage them, folks. Okay. I had a project I entirely forgot about where I bought my son his Christmas gift that costs like well over $100. They shipped me 2 of them by mistake
Oh no.
because Amazon is dumb as hell. But when it showed up to my house, I saw 2 of them and I said I just needed one. They had one order number. She said, no, it's 2 order numbers. I said, can you just send one back? I refused it. She's like, yeah, that's no problem. For 7 straight days, I didn't sign anything. It just said both were delivered to my house, and that was that. And I was like, this isn't good. This isn't good. So I called Amazon. They said they hadn't heard from anyone. By our record, you have 2 of these items. You're being charged for 2. And I thought, this isn't good. This isn't good. So this week, I was like, I'm going to get behind it. I'm going to call the postal service. I'm going to call UPS, one of the other 8 carriers that moved it, and be like, listen, I returned it. I'm a good guy. I don't have it, clearly. Well, as of 2 days ago, Amazon said they hadn't heard anything of it, and I have two of them. The post office says they returned it. They don't know what happened to it. It was sent back to its carrier, and I thought, this is one of those things I got to keep on top of, keep on top of. Wouldn't you know it, folks? Good things happen to good people. Amazon just sent me an email saying they received an item that was returned to the post office, and I'm being issued a full refund.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Okay? And that's one of those things that would have weighed on me for a full month, but it's gone. And here I am. I can talk freely about insects again. I'm happy again.
And you have two of them?
I'm free.
Or you actually sent that back?
I really returned the one back.
Oh, wow.
I was going to flip shit if it didn't get refunded.
You
do it at a Hot Wheels garage or whatever.
You're such a good guy. I never knew it. But what I do know is that mosquitoes and fleas are both insects. Yeah. 6 legs apiece, baby.
Bring us back.
Yeah. And so fleas carried the black plague. And then plague. The black plague. The plague.
What was the name of that one?
Oh, I think we have to.
I did know it.
From last episode. You're going to have to look at that one in last episode, guys.
It wasn't last episode, was it?
It was. Most certainly was.
Did she say the name of it?
She did.
Did you?
No, I don't know the name of it.
No one knows the name of the Black Plague.
Except biologists. Microbiologists.
Yeah.
That's like a 007. Bond. James Bond.
Biologists. Microbiologists.
That's the dorkiest way.
Bubonic plague. No, I was going with like the scientific version.
Yeah, the actual
Yeah. Black Death.
Is it a bacteria? I think it is a bacteria.
I didn't think it was actually.
Yersinia pestis.
Oh, Yersinia pestis. We all know from playing Plague Inc. Right?
Yep. Yep.
Should have brought that up last episode.
So mosquitoes are actually the deadliest insect known to man because it kills more than anything else on the planet.
Anything else? Heart attacks? Car accidents? More?
Alcoholism? Your mother?
Your mother's
Your father?
vagina.
Yeah, you said it.
Yes.
Even infections.
You're right.
It's weird.
It is weird that the things that I hate the most kill the most people.
Yeah.
I'm justified.
I don't think there's anyone, well, maybe someone who studies mosquitoes like an entomologist might like mosquitoes more than humans, but they're probably fighting them.
Oh my God. When I was like 14 or 18, I wrote a thing that said the world will be better without these 3 things. And it was wind, mosquitoes, and there was a third thing. I forget what it was. But to this day, I still think about the mosquitoes part. And I'm like, why did I say that? That's kind of rude. But what purpose do they have on this earth? Yo, I guess they feed some fish and some iguanas?
Birds. Mosquitoes.
Is that their whole purpose on the earth?
Yeah, I guess so.
But they kill millions and millions of people.
Luckily, we still have wind because that would kill almost everybody if there was 0 wind.
I was 15 or whatever. Listen, I'm just
you're going to say you were 5.
The one that made the most sense to me nowadays is mosquitoes, and I wrote the third one.
Huh. So we talked about fire ants. We didn't really talk about like other poisonous things. There are
poisonous insects?
Yeah, there's like silkworm moths, which are Lunomia.
They're poisonous?
Yeah, so there's a very brightly colored
silkworm moth. The one that makes silk?
I don't know that it actually makes silk.
Oh, maybe it's a silkworm.
Yeah, it might be a silkworm. The moth might be the deadly venomous version. Which one do you have?
I'm keeping 7 in my house.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But literally,
in my room, I have to go.
There's like swarms of them. So down here in Texas, they are everywhere when they actually come. I haven't seen them for the past few years, but they always used to be like
things.
Yeah, they used to like cover different plants in your car, and they say not to touch them because they have little. I think they're called like
barbs.
Yeah, they have little barbs. I can't say it because I'm drunk. Articulating hairs. Yes, I said it. So they're actually like they're barbs, that stick into your body, and they have a little venom and poison to them. So they say now don't touch the brightly colored caterpillars because they're actually deadly, which is really off-putting. For other types of caterpillars, I'm pretty sure they hate the other kind. That damn linomia. Ugh. Oh.
Yeah, you hear me Googling, you know
I
it's
see
serious.
the light.
Yeah.
End of the tunnel.
I found the coolest caterpillar one time, and I thought Kaluna moth.
So I'll talk about the different.
Huh?
So we talked about flies. We didn't really talk about gadflies or botflies.
Which ones?
So botflies actually burrow into living flesh in order to reproduce. So if you ever looked on YouTube and search for botfly or gadfly, you will see
Dead
people.
bodies or something.
No, not dead bodies. Living people.
Live bodies.
Yeah, they will. You can see them pulling these botflies out of their skin.
No offense, I'm gonna fuck up every
Yeah. Botfly? Ah, get out of here.
You like that, buddy?
It is really disturbing to think, because they're big. They're like bigger than a pimple. It's like, it looks like a pimple to start, and then it's like when they finally finish pulling it out, it's like a pistachio or something. Marble sized. Like, it's big. It's really disgusting.
Like marble countertop?
Huh. Marble and granite? Who sells that? I don't know. Go to Nick at Marble and Granite store. Generic.
Not for long.
Yeah. Not for long. So
I'll
that
have
was
to talk to you about some names after the podcast.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So that's one of the plagues, right? And there are like 7 plagues that biblical.
yeah.
So there's what there's like a bacteria that hits the water, which causes the fish to die, which makes the
fish.
frogs go up into water
Frogs.
supplies, makes
Blood in
flies,
water.
which is not these flies, but there's
right?
flies in general. And then at some point there's locusts, and we didn't talk about locusts at all. We talked about crickets.
Oh, dude. Locusts? You ever see the
Swarms?
slow-mo
They look
Discovery
like
Channel?
they look like a
HD?
haboob.
Yeah, because there's so many of them.
Yep.
From a previous episode, also known as a sand or wind and sandstorm.
Isn't that a katabatic process?
Holy crap. Did you just listen to this episode?
Mm-mm.
I just listened to it like a week ago, and that's why I know what you're talking about. But I
Yeah.
wouldn't pull that out of the air. It was also your facts that you're harping on, so
Yeah.
maybe.
I'm gonna say it's right regardless because it makes me sound intelligent.
No, I'm saying you were right, I think, but locusts are friggin' nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy that they could, you know, if there was like an imbalance of them and they were sweeping the country, we
They're
would
always an imbalance.
Yeah, there would be a huge problem if they were just devouring crops. I don't know that I have any statistics on how much they can eat.
Neither do I, but I'm gonna do something. You Google, and I'm gonna Google, and we're gonna come up with a number that's gonna astound people.
A locust can eat its weight in plants each day, so a swarm could eat 423 million pounds of plants every day.
In 1875, the largest local swarm in history was recorded over the Midwest. It took up 198,000 square miles.
What?
For reference, California covers 163,000 square miles.
So it's larger than California? Is that what you just said?
Much, much larger. In 1875, the swarm was estimated to contain several trillion locusts and probably weighed several million tons. They can eat. So what happens with the locust swarm is they form swarms that form up with bigger swarms, and they form up with bigger swarms. So you have all one big swarm, and their entire appetite, senses, and everything go towards fresh grass. So they smell wherever the freshest, newest flora is, which is usually upwind. They're going downwind? No, downwind. Downwind. So they're going across the wind.
Yeah, huh.
They know which way they're going to go. And dude, it's just wild. Like, you can eat millions of them and not put a dent in their numbers.
Yeah, there's no way to stop them. You have to wait until they naturally die out, or what are they? Do they even become anything?
No, they have like a 2-week lifespan or something. stuff like that. I have no idea. All I know is they're crazy. Are insects also? What's the animal that lies dormant underground for like 17 years?
Adult lifespan of a locust is 4 to 6 weeks.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like 2 weeks. Oh, my bad.
I think so.
Either way,
That is cicadas, which are they are like every
that's
7 years.
There's a 7-year cicada. I think there's a 12-year
There's
cicada
a
or
13
11-year
and
cicada.
17-year locust too, so I guess
17-year.
they're in
Yeah.
the same category.
Yeah, dude.
That sounds like a
crazy.
bad deal if there's ever a year where all of those things combine. Is that might be the end times?
I have no idea.
Broods.
All I know is Planet Earth did one on cicadas or locusts or someone that did a 17-year plan, and they all just come out of the ground like at once and climb up the nearest tree,
And
then like
they're
yeah,
gone.
dude. All I'm saying is for you to sleep for 17 years and then wake up and be alive for 4 weeks, that's the most insane thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, there's something about insects that's very... I don't get it. It's unsettling. It's weird. It's different. They look different. They look like aliens more than I would think of an alien. Like, if I made up an alien, it wouldn't be as weird as an insect.
Rick and Morty.
I was going to show that insects as leaders or...
I feel like that has to exist. That has to exist somewhere.
It does, and I can't remember what it was. Futurama didn't do it. There's someone else who did insects as like our overlords or something.
I feel like it was Family Guy. But
Family Guy probably made some jokes about it. Probably makes sense.
Damn it! There's one fact I want to go back to, but I don't remember what it was, and I'll remember after the podcast. It's okay. I'll forgive myself. I don't know that I have notes. I don't. Well,
Here's where I want to end it then. I think we covered a lot of insect stuff. I think we missed a lot of stuff, but I think insect is the most generic thing ever. You could probably do 8 podcasts on insects if you really wanted to. They're like nuisances that we have to deal with every day, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
They're very alien. They're very weird to us. They're very... We feel like they don't belong, and some of us naturally hate them.
Yeah, except for honeybees, which are essential to making sure that flowering plants continue to exist. Shout out to the honeybee. Good job. And we love your honey. It's fantastic.
Why are they dying? Someone tell me. Or are they not dying? I just read a study that says they're not dying.
It depends on which variety of honeybee you're talking about, but there are pesticides that are targeting the honeybee by accident. So like Europe recently banned all of those pesticides so that the honeybee can proliferate and continue to survive and pollinate.
My man dropped the proliferate without even slowing down.
Yeah.
That's a shout out. I'm pander down.
Woo! I knew I had something coming. I felt it.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Deep down below. So, yeah, insects. They suck, but they're also necessary and awesome. Except
what I
mosquitoes.
End with actually is the other way. Yeah, mosquitoes and wind. You're right. You're right. What moves our weather? But
if there was no wind, the locusts would have a very difficult time moving their swarms.
They would. Insects are so weird, so foreign, so alien, so unlike us. So I hate them. They reproduce differently. They breathe differently. They live differently. They come together in different lifespans. They feast differently. They eat differently. They don't have consciousness. I know this for a fact because I stepped on a bunch of them. And I'm a really good fly killer, by the way. Like, I'm probably top 10% in the world.
Oh, yeah. Get that fly.
Yeah, I'm really good at killing flies. Don't ask why.
Spanish fly?
Actually...
That's something else. Sorry.
And what I want to say is, if they're older than us, though, aren't we the freaks, the weirdos? And they say cockroaches are going to outlive a nuclear blast, so we won't. So aren't we the weirdos, kind of? Think about it. They're more natural, aren't they? I don't know.
We're the aliens.
We're the freaks, right? We grow to 6 foot tall. We step on them. We build things called stoves. They crawl around in them. They're just like, this is like a home. And I'm like, turn on my light screaming at 5 years old that there's a roach in the stove. Like, that's, I don't know. And then we make insecticides to kill them. And the insecticides are poisonous. It's cancerous to us. Like, what's going on here? The humans are such freaks. I'm like, no, buddy, you're a cockroach. I don't know.
Splat.
The bottom line is we can step on all of them, right?
Yeah.
It kind of is.
But there's a hive mind and a quorum sensing, and they can take over. I think that they could take over our homes if they were smart enough to realize it.
I heard a fact that said there's more insect weight than human weight on the Earth.
Oh.
This is dozens of years ago, so if I'm right, say a prayer for me. If I'm wrong, I'm claiming all responsibility. Nope, not mine. What you got? Am I right?
I just have a ratio of insects to humans is 200 million to 1. Doesn't say
What's
about
the weight ratio, do you think? It's not 2 million to 1. It might be.
Oh, if you give me one more second.
I will give you a dozen seconds.
Oh, this article is full of numbers. They love numbers. They're trying to humanity. So approximately how much humanity is outweighed by all those critters? So they did a rough estimate, and the answer is that they keep talking in this article and are stretching it out. Assholes. And we're gonna say the Globe and Mail is a piece of shit website, is what we're gonna say. And
yeah, that is that's not good.
I'm just gonna say yes. 70 times that of its human population. The weight of the world's insect population is about 70 times of its human population. I'm gonna say that again. 70 times. So the Globe and Mail is a fantastic website that gives us the information. That's folks, a shit ton.
If you like bugs, fuck you.
You're weird. You're weird, all you entomologists.
Like I don't like looking at them. I don't like kissing them. I don't like giving them a little kissy goodnight. I don't like finger touching them. I don't like hugging them. I don't like bringing them into my home, putting them on my bed. I don't like bugs. If I see them on the ground, guess what I'm going to do to them? Especially in my home. Go.
Cry like a baby.
And cry afterwards.
But we know what we do like.
What do we like?
You.
Folks, we like you. We like you.
A lot.
Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for enjoying insects tonight.
Have a good one.
Insects. Sex.